Ben's Tale, An Adventure of Truth and Myth. Book 1, Seeds of Destiny. Chapter 1, The Rise and Fall. Scene 7. Ben's mom was outside on the lawn at the back of the house. She stared up at where the rear window of her bedroom had been. There were little broken bits of glass all around her, so she had to mind her footing as she approached the wall. She took the flashlight out of her pocket. She turned it on and pointed it at the ground. She watched for reflections and small flickers of light to warn her if any of the glass was hidden. The tall grass and the bushy hostas along the edge of the building could easily conceal any stray shards. The flashlight's beam revealed something totally unexpected. A rather large blackish-blue feather was stuck among the cracked wooden beams that had held the window in place. Ben's mother bent down and picked the feather out from the wood. "It wouldn't do to have it out here for my folks to find," she said to herself. "Wouldn't want to worry them with questions I don't have answers to." She put the flashlight down and rolled the feather into a ball. She scrunched it into a back pocket, picked the flashlight back up, and walked forward to the wall of the house. She leaned against the outside wall and faced outward. She pocketed the flashlight and took out Dave's old compass, opened it, aligned the sight, and took a reading. North seemed to be pointing where due north ought to, so the thing still worked after all these years. She lined herself up so she was directly below the opening where the broken window had been, and in a straight line with the broken limbs and the path made through the tree's branches. That was the direction the bird woman creature had bullied its way through. She brought the compass up to her eyes. She aligned the sights again and took a second reading. It read 300 degrees on the compass, west by northwest. As she gazed through the sight, she saw the trail continued. There were more tree limbs and branches further down the length of the path, which were snapped and broken. These had also succumbed to the creature's power as it flew along. Though the course was steadily rising, it stayed straight and true. No waver, no deviation. It was like the beast had some internal programming which had kept it perfectly on track. She walked around the side of the house and into the front yard. The shattered glass and wood here were of abnormally large size. It looked very dangerous, but was easily avoided. In the midst of it all, there was a path where no wood or glass had fallen, and no plants were broken or disturbed. Ben's mother noticed that the path seemed to originate from the center of where the picture window had been. She clipped the compass back onto her pants and pulled out the flashlight to scan the grass. No sparkles or reflections shined back at her through the cleared area up to where the window had been less than an hour before. So she knew none of the glass had landed in the uncluttered pathway. She walked up the trail to the large opening at the living room wall. As her legs rustled the grass and the garden plants, she smelled a nasty scent, not unlike swamp gas or raw sewage. She gagged and waved her hand holding the ice pack in front of her nose to help clear the air. She didn't know where the smell came from. It dissipated in just a few seconds, but its repulsive odor seemed to stick in her nose and mouth and brain. She leaned against the opening where the window wasn't and waited for her lungs and stomach to settle. It meant losing a precious minute, but she knew she wouldn't be able to focus on anything until she regained her composure. She took a deep breath of fresh air and sighed it back out and opened her eyes. She took out the compass, sighted it up the center of the path, and got a reading. 120 degrees east by southeast, just as straight as the path in the back. This was the exact opposite direction of the bird thing. She wondered what it all meant. Ben's mom had only 5 or 10 minutes before her folks would arrive. She was going to go inside and write up a list of what needed to be done. She walked out beyond the swords of wooden glass that were newly decorating the front lawn. They almost went the whole 30 feet up to the edge of the road. After she had safely outdistanced them, she turned to the right and walked over to the driveway and up to the garage. There was another doorway into the garage from this side. During gardening season, Ben's mother usually kept the door propped open with the bricks so she could freely go from the kitchen to the gardens out front. As she walked in, she noticed the feathers stuck in the door jamb. She grabbed it and tucked it into her pocket with the other one. So this is how that thing got in, she thought. She was about to chastise herself for being so unsafe, but then she realized a closed door wouldn't have stopped that monster. It would have just crashed through some window to get what it wanted. She saw another feather inside the garage, and she decided to quickly scan the creature's path for any more of its feathers. She found one in the small hallway upstairs, and 3 more on the floor by Benny's bed. The thing was molting. Part of her hoped the creature was sick. Maybe it would just die and leave Ben alone. Then she remembered that when animals are ill, they tend to be irritable and treacherous. Was Ben even in greater danger than I first thought, she worried? No, no thinking like that. If I fret about this too much, I will just shut down. She went back downstairs, tossed the ice pack back in the freezer, and put the dish towel on the counter. She put all the feathers she had gathered into a white plastic grocery bag and tied it off. She washed her hands of the acrid smell that came off the feathers, dried them, and ran downstairs to the basement to get a cooler. She took it back upstairs and began to fill it up with trip food. Bread, cheese, cold cuts, juice, jelly, and ice packs. In a couple of bags, she packed some breakfast bars, peanut butter, chips, raisins, nuts, chocolate, a hard plastic cup, and a knife. She grabbed all the food and put it along with a couple of gallon jugs of water into the back seat of the minivan. She ran upstairs and grabbed a change of clothes, her sneakers, and some boots. She rushed back down the stairs and outside, where she tossed these in the front passenger seat with her purse, the compass, the pain meds, and the flashlight. She grabbed the bag of feathers and tossed them in the farthest back corner of the van. She didn't want her parents to happen upon them. She shut all the doors and stuffed the keys in her front pants pocket. Her parents were going to be there any minute. What else was left to do? She opened up a recent picture album and took out photos of Ben, Dave, and her. She had a child safety card of Ben that had his photo, description, his fingerprint, and his ID number. She scanned the front and back of the ID card into the computer and quickly printed it out. She shoved the original card into her back pocket and brought the copy and the 3 pictures to the kitchen table. She got another picture of Ben and another picture of David out of the photo album for her to have. She took them and Ben's card out to her purse in the van. Not much time left. She grabbed some paper and quickly drew 2 diagrams of the outside of the house. She drew a line heading toward the woods and wrote under it, Ben, taken by an ugly woman thing, 300 degrees west by northwest. She then drew a line from the front of the house with David, taken by something very smelly. Didn't see it, but could hear its horrid laugh. 120 degrees east by southeast. Exact opposite of Betty, written alongside. She folded up one of the copies and put it in her pants pocket. Then she scooted over to the computer and typed out a list. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for your help. Please call the police and explain to them what happened. Give them my cell phone number and credit card below so they can track me and talk to me. When they get here, show them the 2 front doors. The living room one has a bit of Dave's scalp at the bottom of it. The garage door is where Betty's abductor came in. Then show them the living room where David was taken from and the upstairs bedrooms. The little one is where the woman thing tried to steal Ben, and the main bedroom is where it beat me unconscious and jumped out the window. It then went through the woods. You can see the path. Be careful of the broken glass and wood. It's in the living room, master bedroom, and the front and backyards. 1. When the police say it's okay, please staple blankets or plastic over the 2 holes. Then call professionals to pick up the glass and install new windows. I know you would do it yourself, but I couldn't bear it if you got hurt along with everything else that had happened. 2. When you get a call from Patrick, I left a message on his machine. Please fill him in as to what is going on and see if he would track whoever or whatever took Dave out of the living room window. She then heard a car pull into the driveway. It was her parents. They would be in the garage soon. 3. Please call Dave's family and let them know what has happened. I haven't had time to. Here's the list of their numbers. Just as she was finishing the last phone number, her parents came in through the kitchen door. Hello, all, and welcome to Ben's Tale. Book 1, Seeds of Destiny. Chapter 1, The Rise and Fall. Well, I guess we can say pretty definitely that we are putting up 1 or 2 units every Thursday morning. We are thinking of rewarding y'all with an extra chapter in the upcoming weeks. More to come in the future. This week's art is by Art Benjamin. A couple of behind-the-scenes info for all of you. You may have noticed that I am starting to call the units scenes. It just feels more natural. Expect all future videos to be called such. Some may wonder why I say ba before I say Ben's Tale. This is because when I just said a standard B, it would get cut off in the recording, which is rather annoying. And this was the best way I came up with that got around that. Please share this video on your socials. Smash the like button, ring the bell, but most important, please subscribe. That way you will not miss out on Thursdays when these come out. If you want to support us, become a patron on our Patreon. The link is below in the description. If you have any thoughts you want to share, feel free to post them in crayon on the comment wall below. We want your thoughts. Please keep things civil. Stretch out those mental muscles, please. 90% of our portion of the money you folks give as our patrons on Patreon will go to help pay for my 91-year-old mother, alias Ben's Grandma Edie, care at home. Any level you can manage on Patreon would be a big help. Thank you very much for getting wrapped up in our story. Please come again. Peace, hugs, and happiness. David Amrod, signing out.